Hey guys, it's the Sports Trader, and I want to thank you for watching this podcast. Before we go into the clip, I just want to remind you guys we have our new $2 club. If you guys want to join the $2 club and get some of the best in sports, along with supporting some really cool guys like us, then click the link that's in the description below. It's the $2 club. It's a revolutionary club in sports, and I could tell you more, but just click the link below, and trust me, you'll love it. Let's get on with the clip. For those of you that go onto our website, you guys always know that you can always ask us questions. We have a section over there called the Mailbag, and we invite you guys to send as many questions in as you want to along the way. You send us a question, we'll try to answer it for you to the best of our ability. Now, Lance is going to read the questions. I'm going to answer them. He'll chime in. I have not seen these questions, so if it takes me a second to come up with a snap answer, then just kind of hang in there and listen along. Here we go. Here's our first question.
Okay, first question comes from Todd of Lafayette. Who will be the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints next season?
I don't think this is up for much of a discussion. I think it's Taysom Hill. I think Hill played above average in the games that he played. I think that Sean Payton is desperately waiting for his moment when he doesn't have a statue back there anymore and he can start to do some really creative stuff. I think that if they sign Taysom Hill, if they start Taysom Hill, if that's going to be their quarterback entering the year, I believe that they would be ridiculous if they didn't have a great backup behind him, because Hill plays a very aggressive, very violent style of football, and quarterbacks who do that don't tend to stick around very long, get hurt along the way. But I think you have to start with Taysom Hill. I think you look at Taysom Hill and you say to yourself, "Hey, I've got a guy like the kid who plays in Baltimore. I've got a Lamar Jackson who's not quite Lamar Jackson. He's not quite that skill level. He's not quite Lamar Jackson, but he is a guy who can run like that, move around the pocket, except that he might be a little bit better of a passer than Lamar Jackson." And that's a little messed up to say, considering Jackson's been playing quarterback for a couple of years and Hill's only played quarterback for 4 games. So I think given the opportunity, a full offseason, a full year of knowing that's his job, I think it's going to be Taysom Hill. What about you?
Yeah, the problem with New Orleans is that they are way over the cap. So they are going to lose a lot of people. They are like 17 million above the cap. So there's a lot of thinking that goes there. But one of the people that already signed up is Taysom Hill. So just like your analogy with Baltimore, the thing about New Orleans with Taysom Hill under center is that he doesn't have to run that much. He just have to run to divert the attention of the defense to their wide receivers, be it Michael Thomas and even Alvin Kamara from the backfield. So he doesn't have to run like crazy like a Lamar Jackson, because that's not the main focal point of their offense. They do have a strong passing game, and the Taysom Hill has proven under Sean Payton that he can win. And also Payton has proven that with another quarterback other than Drew Brees, that he can constantly win. The challenge is if they can win constantly throughout the regular season. Now, they are floating the name of Jameis Winston as a potential backup quarterback. Granted that A, they sign him back, and B, if he doesn't attract any suitors that can offer higher salaries with other teams. So that's the concern, and that's the danger for New Orleans. So coming into the 2021 season, they might have just one quarterback in their roster. So they need at least one more, or maybe even 2, to fill out the max number of quarterbacks in the roster, because if something happens to Taysom Hill, then that's problem. That's trouble.
So there are a lot of teams out there looking for quarterbacks right now. My prediction is that Jameis Winston ends up a starter somewhere for somebody. Somebody's going to give that kid another chance. Former number 1 overall pick, 5,000-yard passer. Yeah, he threw a lot of interceptions. If you can fix that, he's got the arm talent. He's got the skill to actually be a good quarterback. Let's go to our next question, Lance. It's coming to us from.
Okay, it's coming to us from Francis of St. Paul. Hello, Francis, if you're watching.
Hey, Francis.
So, did Justin Jefferson have a strong case for Offensive Rookie of the Year?
This is a yes and no question. Yes, he had a strong case, and no, he shouldn't have won it. I think that with every award like this, when it's an Offensive Player of the Year type of award, whether it's Offensive Rookie of the Year or Offensive Player of the Year, I think it's always going to lean towards a quarterback first. And the only case that it won't lean towards a quarterback is like this year, where you have Aaron Rodgers, who won MVP but didn't win Offensive Player of the Year. So I think Justin Jefferson had a really strong case to be Offensive Rookie of the Year. Unfortunately, there was at least one quarterback who played better than he did. Now, I only mentioned one quarterback because Herbert stayed healthy and the other guy didn't. If the other guy would have stayed healthy, I think that he would have had an opportunity to be Offensive Player of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year as well. And I think Jefferson would have been bumped down to third. Now, with all that being said, I'm not taking anything away from Justin Jefferson. He had a fantastic year. And he was solely responsible for me winning all the games I won in fantasy this year because the rest of my team was awful, and I picked up Justin Jefferson in like the 11th round, who was fantastic. So I have no bones against Justin Jefferson. I think he was a great player, and I think he's got a huge future in front of him. But I don't think he got robbed like TJ Watt did.
Yeah, I do agree as well. Yeah, because the problem with wide receivers winning individual awards is that for some reason their quarterbacks always get a portion of the credit.
Yeah.
So without you liking it, Kirk Cousins does get some of the credit for the success of Justin Jefferson because the ball still comes out of him and he finds Justin Jefferson regularly. But just like what you mentioned, a hell of a rookie season for Justin Jefferson, broke Randy Moss' record for receiving yards as a rookie. And things are looking bright. Things are just looking up for Jefferson. So expect Minnesota to be one of the potent contenders next season in the NFC.
All right, let's jump into our very last question coming out of our mailbag from whatsonsports.com.
Okay, so this is coming from Aldo of San Mateo, California. Yeah, so what's your take on the NFL regular season going to 17 games per team?
I got to be really honest with you here. I got to be completely and totally honest with everybody out here. What is my take on the NFL season going to 17 games? I absolutely, positively, freaking love it. I love it. Give me more football. Hell yeah. I think a lot of the players are really irritated about it. But for me personally, I love the idea. I mean, you're telling me that I could have a whole extra game of football? That's amazing. You know who's going to love it? You know who's going to really love it? The owners who lost their ass this year and can actually hopefully be able to put people in stands next year. You know who else is going to love it? The sports books are going to love it. You know who else is going to love it? DraftKings, FanDuel, anybody that's in the daily fantasy game. I mean, their biggest part of their year, their real season comes during football season. I think it outshines everything else. And to get an extra full week of business, oh my God, they're going to love it. And believe me when I tell you this, there's nothing that's going to stop these 17 games from happening. At one time, it was a 12-game season, and then they moved it to 14, and the players complained and bitched and moaned and complained. And then they moved to 16, and the players bitched and moaned and complained. And then it's going to go to 17. But you know who's going to make more money also? The players are going to make more money. Everyone's going to make more money. And I'm absolutely thrilled to death as a fan, as a casual fan who enjoys watching football. Give me more of it. I'll take the extra week. What about you?
Yeah, especially now that all of their revenues went down, so they really have to catch up in terms of revenue. So imagine that one extra game, how much money they can generate out of that once the crowd will be able to come in next season. And another good thing about having 17 games in a regular season, and of course a shortened preseason at that, is that you don't have 8-8 teams anymore. So it's either you have a winning record or it's either you have a losing record. So it's either you are an 8-9 or a 10-7. So there's no 8-8s anymore. So at least you'll have a better assessment as a general manager or as a coach how your team did this year, because there's no harder assessment than being 8-8. So it's like you're good, but you're also bad. So how do you assess that? How do you see where you have to improve? So at least when you're 9-8 or you're 8-9, you know that something's wrong and you know that something's good. If you're 9-8, you have to adjust a little bit. If you're 8-9, you had a bad season.
I absolutely love that's probably the best point that I've heard for the 17 game season for having an odd number. And then you know what? As simple as that is, as simplistic as that idea is that you thought of, I actually never thought of that. That is brilliant, actually. You're 100% right. There will be no more mediocrity. You will either be a winning team or you will be a losing team, and that's just the way it is. I love it. I love it. There is no second first place, right? Hey, Lance, great job today on the podcast. For all of you that watched out there today, we totally appreciate you guys being a part of it. And for those of you that listen to at home on your favorite podcast platforms, keep listening, and we'll keep putting out good content. Talk to you soon. Hey, you watched all the way until the end. That's awesome. Well, listen, here's some more clips you guys are going to like. Click those. And also, if you love the show and you want a lot more of what we do, click the link in the description below. It'll take you over to our $2 club. That's right. It's a $2 club. And it'll show you all of the amazing, awesome things that you'll get for just $2. It's the best deal in sports, and we invite you to join our club today. It's the $2 club at whatsonsports.com. See you there.